One side had a population of over 150 million, a vast army and thousands of tanks and aircraft. The other was a small northern country of under 4 million people, with almost no tanks and a tiny air force. When the giant attacked, the world assumed it would be over in days. Instead, the little nation made it one of the most humiliating campaigns the giant ever fought. This is the Winter War. In late 1939, as a larger war engulfed Europe, the Soviet Union turned its eyes north, toward Finland. It demanded territory and bases for its own security. Finland, small but determined, refused to simply hand over its land. So in November, the Soviet military invaded, expecting a quick and easy victory. On paper, it was no contest. The Soviets had overwhelming numbers of soldiers, tanks, artillery, and planes. Finland had a fraction of the men, little heavy equipment, and few modern weapons. Its greatest asset was something else entirely. That asset was the land itself: dense forests, frozen lakes, few roads, and one of the harshest winters imaginable. The Finns understood their country in a way the invaders never could. Dressed in white, moving silently on skis, small Finnish units could appear out of the forest, strike, and vanish back into the trees. The Soviet columns were bound to the few roads, strung out for miles in the cold. Finnish troops would cut these long columns into pieces, isolating and destroying them section by section, a tactic that trapped whole divisions. The temperatures dropped to brutal, killing extremes. For soldiers caught in the open without proper winter gear, the cold itself became a deadly enemy. The Finns, better equipped for the conditions and fighting for their homeland, used the weather as a weapon. Their marksmen, hidden in the white landscape, became legendary, patient, invisible, and deadly accurate. For weeks, the results stunned the world. A tiny army was stopping and even shattering the forces of a superpower. Along the main defensive line, wave after wave of Soviet assaults broke against determined Finnish defenders. Soviet losses climbed to staggering numbers. The invasion that was supposed to take days dragged on into months. The whole world watched, astonished, as Finland held on, and the reputation of the Soviet military suffered a serious blow. But courage and cunning could only hold back sheer numbers for so long. The Soviets regrouped, brought in massive reinforcements and overwhelming artillery, and concentrated their assault. Slowly, grindingly, weight of numbers began to tell. The exhausted Finnish lines, with no reserves left, could not hold everywhere at once. In March 1940, Finland was forced to accept peace, giving up a slice of its territory. It had lost land, but it had kept its independence and its dignity, and it had inflicted a humiliation the giant would never forget. The Winter War became a lasting lesson in the limits of raw power. Numbers, tanks, and planes count for less when the terrain, the weather, and the will of the defender all turn against you. A determined people, fighting on ground they knew, had held off a force many times their size and made the whole world take notice. Watching from afar, other militaries drew a dangerous conclusion about the Soviet army's weakness, a conclusion that would soon lead to the largest invasion in history. But that is where the Winter War's shadow falls on an even greater catastrophe. For now, remember the image: white-clad skiers vanishing into a frozen forest, turning snow and silence into weapons against a giant. Years earlier and half a world away, another war would be decided not in the snow, but on the open ocean, in 5 unbelievable minutes that changed the course of a world war. That's the next story.